If you want to build software today, people usually push you into three paths. They'll tell you to build a SaaS, they'll tell you to start an automation agent, or they'll suggest something in between the two. And honestly, none of that sounds wrong at first. In fact, it all sounds pretty reasonable. Scalable products, recurring revenue, clients who pay. But here's the part most people don't talk about. They don't tell you what actually breaks you over time. Not when you're excited, not when you're shipping your first version, but months later, when responsibility stacks up, when expectations don't slow down, and when you realize you're the bottleneck for everything. This video isn't about what's trendy right now. It's not about what looks impressive on Twitter or LinkedIn. It's about what's sustainable, especially if you're working solo, especially if you're non-technical, or if you're just starting out and trying not to burn out before you even get traction. So instead of hyping one model, we're going to compare three of them head to head, based on effort, based on tools, based on risk, and based on long-term sanity. Because once real clients show up, once real bugs appear, once real pressure kicks in, these models stop looking the same. Each one works. People are making money with all of them. But they behave very differently when things go wrong, when scope creeps in, and when you're the one who has to fix it at 2 a.m. By the end of this video, one option clearly stands above the rest. If you're into this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for future videos.
When people talk about SaaS, they usually describe it like this: one product, many users, massive recurring revenue, build it once and let it run. It's often sold as the cleanest model, the most scalable, the closest thing to passive income in software. And on paper, that sounds perfect. But here's what SaaS look like in reality. The SaaS doesn't survive on a good idea. It survives on scale. And to even reach that point, you need a lot more than people admit. You need authentication that never breaks. You need databases that scale without corrupting data. You need analytics to understand user behavior. You need security that can handle real-world threats. And you need performance tuning so the product doesn't slow down as users grow. None of this is optional. On top of that, SaaS requires long build cycles, weeks or months before anything meaningful ships. Constant updates to fix bugs, patch security issues, and add features users expect. And ongoing support because users don't stop emailing once they pay. This is the part most people underestimate. SaaS only works when everything works. One broken login flow and users churn. One data issue and trust is gone. One bad architecture decision early on and you're paying for it for months. Then there's the hidden cost no one likes to talk about. Marketing never stops. You don't finish growth. Competition is brutal because anyone can copy features. And revenue is slow at the beginning, even when you're doing things right. You might spend months building only to realize the market doesn't even care. And fixing that isn't quick. So SaaS isn't bad. It's powerful when it works. But it's a long game, an unforgiving one. It demands patience, capital, and resilience long before it ever rewards you. Like SaaS, automation agencies look incredibly attractive at first. You're selling business to business, clients already have money, deals are higher value. You don't need a massive audience. You don't need to wait for months for traction. You can start fast and get paid fast. The demand is real. Companies are drowning in manual work. They want things automated yesterday. So on the surface, the model feels practical, even smart. But here's the reality nobody mentioned. Automation agencies are not about building systems. They are about operating systems forever. Every client comes with their own tools, their own data, their own messy processes, which means every project is custom. Every workflow is different. Every small tweak creates new problems somewhere else. There's no real finish line. Even after delivery, the messages keeps coming. Something broke, something changed, someone clicked the wrong button, and suddenly you're back inside the system you already shipped. This is where the real pain shows up. Constant communication, back and forth explanations that were already agreed on. Client expectations change mid-project. Their internal processes change. Their tools change, and you're expected to adapt instantly. So instead of building, you're firefighting. Every week, there's something urgent, something quick, something that can't wait. And then there's the tool overload. You're not just building automations, you are managing documentation, Messages, status updates, follow-up, calls, Slack, email, and Notion, too many tools, too much coordination. At some point, the automation you built isn't the problem anymore. You are, because you don't own a system. The system owns you. So SaaS is heavy. Automation agencies are exhausting. Which brings us to the third part, the one most people overlook, but quietly outperforms both when things get real. So far, we looked at two extremes. SaaS is powerful but heavy. Automation agencies move fast but never really stop. Now we get to the third part, the one that doesn't get talked about much, the one that doesn't look flashy on social media, custom apps. And before you tune out, let's be clear about what that actually means. A custom app is built for one business. It solves one specific problem. It has a small user base, and most importantly, it has a clear scope. There is no pretending it's going to scale to 1 million users, no pitching a vision, no waiting for growth to kick in. You're building something concrete for a real workflow that already exists. And that changes everything. There's no scaling pressure. You're not designing for every possible future user. You're designing for the people who will actually use it. There are no subscriptions to wait for. You're not hoping users stick around long enough to justify their effort. The value is delivered upfront. There is no endless client engagement either, because the goal isn't keep improving forever. The goal is simple. Make it work, make it reliable, and ship it. Once it works, it's done. That single idea removes a massive amount of stress. You don't need a massive tech stack. You don't need growth tooling. You don't need complex analytics pipeline. You don't need to future-proof for problems that may never exist. Which leads to the biggest advantage of all, simplicity. With custom apps, you use fewer tools. You learn a focus stack. You build only what's necessary. There is no over-engineering, because over-engineering doesn't help the business. It just wastes time. The user base is small, the functionality is focused, and the delivery outcome is clear. Everyone knows when the job is finished. That is rare in software. There is no illusion of passive income here. But there is also no illusion of infinite. You build, you deliver, you move on. And quietly, this model avoids most of the threats we talked about earlier. No endless marketing grind, no constant firefighting, no system that owns you. Just real problems, real solutions, and a clean finish line. And that's why when things get real, when time, energy, and sanity actually matter, custom apps quietly win. Let's put them side by side. No theories, no hype, just reality. SaaS is a long-term bet. When it works, it really works. But it comes with high risks, high complexity, and a slow payoff. You're betting months, sometimes years before you know if you are right. You're building for scale before scale even exists. And one wrong decision early can lock you into problems that are expensive to fix later. Automation agencies sit on the opposite end. They bring fast money, clients pay quickly, demand is immediate, but that speed comes with a cost, higher effort, constant communication, and ongoing stress that never really turns off. Every client adds more weight, more responsibility, more things that can bring. You're always on, always responding, always managing expectations. Now look at customer. One-time build, one-time delivery, paid upfront, minimal maintenance, no illusion of passive income, but also no illusion of infinite responsibility. You are solving a real problem for a real business. You know exactly what success looks like. And when you reach it, the job is done. And that difference matters more than people realize. Because software isn't just about what can scale. It's about what you can sustain. SaaS isn't dead, it's just demanding. Automation agencies aren't useless, they're just exhausting. But if you care about speed, if you care about control, if you care about sustainability, then custom apps stand out. Low risk because you're not waiting on adoption. Fewer tools because you're not building for everyone. Faster resource because value is delivered immediately. Clear value because problem already exists. And real demand because businesses will always pay to remove the pain. This isn't the loudest model, it's not the trendiest, and it probably won't go viral on social media, but it works. Especially if you're solo, if you're non-technical, and if you want to build software without burning out. Custom apps are the best overall model right now. Not louder, not trendier, but smarter. If you're serious about building solutions like this and you're willing to learn step by step and work on real projects, you're welcome to join our free community. Inside, we teach everything from ground up, starting from zero with practical hands-on guidance. And if you're someone who's interested in using this solution but doesn't want to dive into technical side and instead wants to move faster and scale sooner, You can also partner with us and hire our tech team to build these systems for you. Either way, the goal is the same, helping you move from ideas to real working solutions.